Today in the crypto space, we see the market getting a nice bounce to the upside. Bitcoin above the $56,000 mark, up approximately 4%. And we have Ethereum doing pretty good as well, right around that $2,300 level, up approximately 2.5%. Also, the rest of the crypto space doing pretty good. We have all these altcoins deep in the green, Near Protocol, Caspa, Doge, Toncoin, many others grinding to the higher levels. In today's video, I want to talk about the general market. I want to use Bitcoin as a leading indicator, but more importantly, I want to talk about one project that is looking super good, and that project is called SUI. So you know what? Let's talk about the news, let's analyze the charts, and let's strategize to capitalize. Welcome to the channel. My name is Mike, and let's get right into it, guys. If you're new to the channel, welcome. On the channel, we talk about cryptocurrency, Bitcoin, Ethereum, and all the altcoins, looking for opportunities. Whether we go up or down, bearish or bullish, it doesn't matter. All we want to do is stay one step ahead of the market, where we can capitalize on any of the volatility. And if you appreciate the strategy, subscribe to the channel, click the bell so you don't miss out on any of my future videos, including the live streams at 8 p.m. EST, where we talk about crypto news and price action. Guys, if you have any projects you want me to cover here on the channel, feel free to let me know in the comment section below. You can hit me up on the socials. The links are in the description. Better yet, guys, join the Discord. The Discord is where it's at. Lots of good alpha, trade setups, fundamentals, and learning material. The best part is it's absolutely free. All right, guys, let's begin. Let's see what's going on here with this market. Market cap is rising, guys, looking pretty good. As you can see, we're up approximately 2%. Yeah, we're not back above the 2.2. I like the $2.2 trillion level. It's a level of which we saw the market cap kind of hold steady for a good while. So maybe we do get back to that level. I also appreciate the fact that we're getting trading volume into this move to the upside, which means that the market, overall agrees with this move. We got a lot of consensus across the market with this move to the upside, lots of volume, a lot of, market participation, which I appreciate. That's a really good scenario. Volume is always an indication of strength in a move, right? So pretty good. But overall, guys, the reality is that we're not out of the woods yet. The reality is a lot of these altcoins are still at the bottom. So if you feel a little bit of FOMO today, rest assured you're still in a good zone. Even if you start buying the dips right now or buying into right now, you just got to zoom out. The reality is that I know these little fractals here on the right are going to look super bullish right now, but if you get on larger time frames, the daily time frames, and zoom out, you'll realize we're still at a good level to start DCAing. And if we do get pullbacks, guys, those are opportunities. Bitcoin is doing pretty good, as I mentioned. Ethereum doing okay, grinding still. Like, if you think about it, look, Ethereum is not even doing that great. The reality is, in comparison to Bitcoin, Ethereum is not even doing that great. It will at one point hopefully get its moment, get its turn as people take profit, maybe rotate into Ethereum and start rotating into all other blue chips and large caps, mid caps, micro caps, and so on. That rotation is something that we want to see. But currently at the moment, we're seeing a bit of a spike in even the altcoin market. We also see it a bit on Tether, USDT, a bit of a depeg. Curious there. Every time we got volatility in the last little while, we got a dip, we got a depeg. We got a rise today, another little depeg. So interesting correlations there for sure. BNB getting a nice move to the upside, which is nice grind. And you can see even Doge looking very healthy, up 8.5%. Toncoin, another 8%. We have AVAX still doing great, up 8.7 the last 7 days, 4.4 of which is just for today, which is pretty good. Sheep doing good, and lots of green throughout the market. You can see that as I scroll through, you can see there's a lot of projects. Near Protocol doing great. A lot of projects are waking up, guys, and you can imagine that some of the micro caps, the smaller cap projects, are also doing good because of the volatility they basically have based on their market cap. We can see some good gainers down there at maybe sub $100 million market cap, even sub 500 million, are definitely good levels and good market caps to see lots of volatility, both to the upside, of course, and to the downside. So keep that in mind. We have FET doing pretty good, up 10.7%, and a lot of the market is doing good, guys. A lot of the market. I would say that right now the market is up approximately between 5 to 10% would be a good range to see, nice and green. But the question is now, are we going to get a bigger relief? Are we going to get a recovery? Are we going to get Bitcoin back to the top of the range, hitting about 70,000? And that would definitely bring the altcoins right back to where they came from. In fact, it could be an indication that altcoins could start showing us that they're going to start outperforming Bitcoin. Okay, this is important, guys. This is important because these are the first signals that we could be getting for an altcoin season where we see the altcoins just totally melt faces. So this is the beginning, guys. It's just our first pop to the upside for, basically in a long time, since we've been seeing the market kind of dip down and grind down. This is our first moment that we see some proof of life here in this market. So rest assured, yeah, I understand the emotions are there. The FOMO is there. Look at Phantom, up almost 13% today, guys. Really, really good move to the upside for Phantom. If you're a Phantom holder, congrats. And we can see that rotation happening, capital flowing into other, even Thorchain Rune is doing pretty good, but reality is they didn't even really leave the station just yet. Guys, look at it. It's just rolling slowly. This thing's ready to pop. Floki doing great as well. And this is the thing, guys. This is the beginning. This is just the beginning. This is an opportunity still, if you zoom out, to still DCA. All right, so green. Of course, join me live tonight, 8 p.m. EST. We'll talk about the markets. We'll talk about Bitcoin dominance. We'll talk about Bitcoin, Ethereum, that relationship, of course. We'll talk about any charts. If you have any projects you want me to cover, that is a great time and place to make those requests. All right, guys, we're going to talk about SUI today, of course, but first, before we get into SUI, I want to talk about what's going on with Bitcoin, because ultimately Bitcoin, is that indicator. If we see Bitcoin continue to show strength as we are seeing it in the last, 24 hours, even 48 hours. Yesterday was pretty good too, guys. If you look at it, we formed a nice bottom here on Bitcoin. We could continue seeing the altcoin market flourish. Think about the what really happens here. Bitcoin is in a structure, a very clear, defined structure. It's very sideways, this structure. When Bitcoin goes sideways and it's boring, that's usually where we see the altcoins flourish. And if we do see Bitcoin run up and we see altcoins run up even harder than Bitcoin in this instance, guys, it's a very good sign that we're going to probably see altcoins outperform and do very, very well in the next little while. We have been seeing the dominance fall. Today, we're seeing Bitcoin definitely do well. So meaning that the Bitcoin dominance is getting a move up. But you know how the peaks and the valleys of the market work. At this point, the reality is all we are doing is forming a bottom. As long as we're below the 200 daily, guys, we always have to have the mindset that we are in a bearish stance. We are. If we break above the horizontal, maybe at about 60,500, above the 200 daily, of course, we start, seeing these EMAs cross to the upside in a bullish way. Then we're going to start getting bullish. We have no choice, because then we might backtest in spring and start moving to the upside again. But the reality is, what about if we come to this level and get rejected and come down for another lower low? That's the only fear that I have right now, getting super, super bullish. That's the risk that we're taking, getting super, super bullish. But in the short term, guys, it's very likely that we start hitting higher levels, 60,000, something like that. And then we start, contemplating on whether this area is going to act as resistance. Are we going to see shorts start to pile in? Do we get a short squeeze where we see that all those shorts get squeezed, they get wrecked, and then we see the price continue to the upside? And to be honest, that's usually what happens when we get those major impulses, especially breaking out of structure. We do see a lot of people that are going against, and pretty much get wrecked, especially going against the trend. You got to admit, Bitcoin's still in a bull trend. If we start zooming out, don't get me going. The reality is we're still in a bull trend. We're still moving to the upside. Just a bigger retracement than expected. And if we keep on zooming out, the reality is this retracement's a handle to a beautiful cup and handle. So what are we doing here, guys? We have to have a conviction. The conviction is that eventually we break up to the upside, respecting the trend. And the reality is Bitcoin is doing a pretty good job as we speak, potentially getting some support, and making a higher low, including the wicks. It's a higher low, so that's not bad. And we go to the upside. Let's just play level by level. Obviously, day by day, guys, I'm going to be live here every night, of course, talking about crypto news and price action, and of course, these updates. Let's take a look at SUI. What's going on with SUI? SUI, at the end of the day, has been doing great. A couple of members on the Discord have been chatting about SUI and, thinking about what we should be doing about SUI. And the reality is, I've been talking about SUI for the last little while. I've been DCing into SUI. I like the ecosystem. It's a growing ecosystem. I like their focus on gaming. They made statements that that's their focus, which I appreciate. And as we're coming down to lower levels, getting to levels of bottoms, I felt like that was a good zone to start taking a bit of risk. You know, taking a bit of risk right here worked out definitely. Taking a bit of a risk right into here based on, you know, getting a few bottoms and, you know, considering that we retraced significantly. There was a huge volume zone right into here. I was like, okay, I'm going to dabble and get my first entries. And then down here was a perfect zone to just bring down my average based on all the divergences that we were getting here on the oscillators, looking at divergence across the market pretty much, and also seeing that we were slowly moving to the upside. As you can see, the purple line, which is the momentum oscillator, essentially moving to the upside as we're coming down, is slowly making higher highs, which is right now we're getting follow through, which is very interesting because the reality is this follow through didn't even get overbought. Although we did get a nice impulsive move, breaking above the previous high, making a higher high is a good sign, guys, because of course that becomes a change of character, you know, from making lower lows and lower highs, where all of a sudden we make a higher high. And we start thinking to ourselves, well, we did get rejected off the 200 daily pretty much, you know, we respected it. That's usually what happens. To the 200 daily EMA is a good indication of trend. And in order to consider it a trend reversal, we definitely need to get above and start closing daily candles, maybe even back test it. It doesn't have to happen, but at least get above it for that matter. But without getting overbought, we always have to have that mentality that it's very possible that we do eventually get overbought. And going short right now, the risk you are taking is that we end up getting overbought. Let's make this oscillator a little bit bigger so you can see what I mean. This oscillator right here is essentially telling us that if we buy into this zone where we are right now, the risk you take is that we see the purple line get really overbought. You know, and that's where you get the majority of the move. Not here. This is not enough. This is a bull flag. This is an impulse, retracement, impulse, get overbought. If we get overbought, and you can backtest this on other charts, or if SUI is giving us that, every time we get above the 70% mark, right, this line right here, the red line, each of these little peaks essentially gave us great moves to the upside until we started getting divergence. And of course, if we look at that, we'll see, you know, the divergent state right into here. We kept on moving and moving and moving, and little by little we kept on moving and moving. These are all peaks, little peaks and little peaks and little peaks, and every single impulsive move that we stayed overbought, essentially we climbed above the overbought condition. And that's basically what we're trying to do here now, is in the current price action, let's see if we can get overbought. Let's see if we can peak above this 70% mark like we've done in the past and get those impulsive moves, those peaks on the price action. Now, once we get there, who's to say we can't do this again? Continue peaking, continue peaking, continue peaking, where eventually we make higher highs and higher highs and higher highs, and then we start to see divergence right into here. See that divergence, basically higher highs, and then all of a sudden we see the momentum shift. Now, we also have to understand this, is that if you start getting impulsive moves, don't blindly take profits aggressively. We have to get indications of weakness. Indications of weakness can be taken from the daily time frame, which would be the time frame that I'm referring to right now, of course, but also you can basically zoom in on lower time frames and try to get indications of reversals on on slightly lower time frames. So from the daily, you might want to get onto the 12-hour, 8-hour, or my favorite, which is the 4-hour. Then I start playing the 4-hour a little bit and trying to scale out of my positions bit by bit. So the reality is that we could stay above overbought conditions and stay overbought for a good while. And people sometimes overly aggressively take profit without seeing weakness before they do that. Wait for divergences. Wait for indications of pivot point structures. Wait for breaks of horizontal breaks. Then you can slowly, as you get all those little confirmations, as we've been getting confirmations at the bottoms here, guys, we wait for confirmations on the tops, and you scale out. You DCA out the same way you DCA in, or ladder in, ladder out. It's the same concept. So once we get overbought, we're going to start waiting for confirmations, bearish divergences, maybe 2 drives, 3 drives of bearish divergence is very possible. Let's start seeing some pivot point structure. Let's see if we can break above horizontal resistance. These are all things that we got to pay attention for. So at the current moment, what's important is this. We have a nice emotional level right here. We have the 200 daily right into that zone that currently is acting as resistance. I believe that if we break above the 200 daily, and we break above, even more importantly, the horizontal resistance, which is right here at about $1, nice psychological level as well, it's very likely that we start going for an impulsive move and we snap to about $1.40. That for me is important because you can see here there's an empty volume gap, a weak spot in the chart that suggests that if the price wants to move right through that, you know what, there's not much resistance to hold it back. So we got to be prepared for that. That this level at about $1.46, maybe $1.50, could be the next resistance zone. So what do we do here? Do we get another impulse? Let's take a look. Just using Elliott wave, we can use a little bit of structure in that case. Let's get our pen going. Not that I don't want to use the line. Let's use a pen. Actually, we could use this tool right here. I appreciate this one. Let's use that. And or maybe this one. Let's do that one. So you can go straight up, retracement, ABC, right down to here. And then we go for another leg to the upside. Okay. And usually it's the second leg or the second impulsive move or the third wave, which we are, you know, 1, 2, 3, which is this one right here. The current one, the one that I'm plotting, is the third wave. The third wave is usually the biggest if we're going to follow Elliott wave. It needs to be the biggest in order to consider this whole move to the upside an impulsive move that contains 5-wave structure. Right, that could take this 5-wave structure could take us all the way to previous highs, which is so important because if we get to previous highs, guys, we're going to start looking for major moves, right? So price discovery moves. So we could definitely do a nice wave to the upside, or you know, type of thing. So let's take it day by day. The reality is I'm hoping that we can break out of this bull flag, which is, you can see how beautiful of a bull flag that this is, so that we can eventually get overbought on the momentum indicator. Let's take a look at the momentum indicator one more time. Expansion phase is slowly tapering in, which is good. That's what we look for. We want to get overbought. Volatility is getting overbought, which is the orange line. I understand the concern because every time that happens, we see dips and valleys, peaks and valleys along the way. So we got to be pay attention to that. Once we get to that level where we get, you know, pretty much above the 80%, we want to be a bit cognizant of the fact that we could get a rejection and get a short-term pullback, as we have done many times. As we got, if you follow this peak, look at that, right? Look at this peak. Right? Look at this. Like, we peak off pretty much when the orange line gets overbought. So let's keep that in mind. In addition, we can take a look at the trend. The trend, you know, is looking pretty good because we're getting green histogram bars. You guys know I wait for that confirmation. EMA cross, green histogram bars to the upside. We're getting it. We're getting into the bullish control zone. Look at this trend on the EMAs, guys. There's a good indication that we are now going to start showing some bullish strength. Despite the divergence that we got here, we got the follow through already. And now we're back bullish again. Guys, that's strong. We just ate up that divergence like it didn't even exist, right? So keep in mind that we are slowly moving, and you can see the EMAs are slowly moving into the bullish control zone, which is the top half of the oscillator. So far so good, guys. Are we actually going to break out and continue to the upside? I obviously have a lot more conviction here based on the fact that we are in a impulsive move, sideways price action, looking for that impulsive move. We are above the previous high, which is excellent. Higher highs, and now maybe this is the low, which, you know, is not a strong low to consider it a low because it's just a bull flag. But guys, a bull flag is super bullish. In fact, it's more bullish than a higher low because really it's just a continuation pattern. Imagine that continuing from this level and just pushing to higher levels with all this volume. With all the volume that's coming in. It's not like it was here. We got basically buy volume. Look at all that volume right into here. So it's looking pretty good. SUI is looking for another impulsive move to the upside. Of course, none of this is financial advice, guys. Do your own research. Make sure that you're fundamentally bullish on all these projects that I talk about here on the channel. And of course, I got a lot of good videos talking about deep dives and so on. And if you want to request a deep dive, join the Discord. There's a deep dive section where you can request my next research project so that I can give you that, guys, that alpha going forward. All right, guys, if I've offered you any value in this video, do the channel a massive favor and slap the like button. It does really help out with the algorithm. If you want to follow me on the socials, the links are all in the description below. Feel free to join the Discord. The Discord is where it's at. Lots of good alpha, trade setups, fundamentals, and learning material. The best part is it's absolutely free. All right, guys, take care. Have a good one. And don't forget, buy the dip.